Airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield. Welcome to Duck Insider.
Our whole athletic department, there's a level of expectations of success.
Throw, catch, touchdown, Oregon.
He can run and slam.
This is back out for a three. Left wing is good.
In the air to center, back at the wall. It's out of here.
Really excited that we get to rep our Ducks and hopefully come back to Eugene with some championships.
Indoor track and field national champion. And for the fourth time in the last 6 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
We have so many teams that are excelling right now, and it's really fun to be a part of.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Great day to be a Duck. Not so good of a day to be a Husky. Welcome to the Duck Insider. We've got a lot of good things to talk about today because Oregon men's basketball and women's basketball both took down the Dogs this past weekend. What does that mean for their postseason standing? What does that mean for their net ranking? What does that mean for, well, pretty much anything? We're going to talk about all of that on the show today. We also have some Oregon football news to tell you about as we close in on National Signing Day next Wednesday. We're looking forward to a full day of programming and all sorts of fun stuff for you. We'll take your Facebook comments and questions. More to come on that. GoDucks.com/signing day, where you can tune in for all the different shows and programs and yeah, we're looking forward to it. What is going to be a great celebration of an entire class that I think is going to shape up to be, well, pretty good. I have no insider information. But I think that I trust Dan Lanning and the coaching staff. In Dan, we trust, right? In Dan, we trust. We also will talk about the upcoming Oregon softball season and Oregon baseball season this week. Missy Lombardi, the Oregon softball head coach, will join us in the studio tomorrow, first preview of her squad season. And then we'll also have Mark Wazakowski and the Oregon baseball team meeting with the media tomorrow. We'll have that for you on Duck Insider throughout the week as we get ready for what is a busy week of basketball at Matthew Knight Arena with the spring sports on the horizon. All right, before we look ahead, I do want to look back, I do want to look ahead because the schedule has shifted around, and it's important for me to keep you up to date on that. Men's basketball against Colorado, 7 o'clock tomorrow. We'll have a 6:30 pregame show here on the Oregon Sports Network, a Pac-12 network broadcast for the 7 o'clock tip-off tomorrow against Colorado. I think this is a game that Oregon needs to win if the Ducks want to stay inside that NCAA tournament bubble, which right now I think they are. Meanwhile, for Oregon women's basketball, as they continue to climb the rankings, an 11 a.m. Pac-12 network broadcast on Wednesday, 10:30 a.m. pregame show with Terry Johns for Oregon's makeup game against Utah. So Tuesday, Wednesday, back-to-back days with makeup games at Matthew Knight Arena. Love to see it. Oregon women's basketball then is at home on Friday against UCLA in a big-time matchup, 8 o'clock tip at MKA. Oregon men's basketball, Oregon State, round 2. Oh, man, I'm excited. 7 o'clock on Saturday for Oregon men's basketball, and then Oregon women's basketball finishes up a busy week at Matthew Knight Arena with, noon tip-off against USC on Sunday. There's your schedule. We'll talk about it all week long, but we're going to have lots of pre-game, post-game, and, just a lot of breakdown over the course of the show this week. So tomorrow, we will not have a tip-off Tuesday. Because we've got Oregon men's basketball and Oregon women's basketball going on in the middle of the week, we will not have a tip-off Tuesday basketball coaches show. Programming note for you there. And on Wednesday, because of the Oregon women's basketball tip time being 11 a.m., no Duck Insider, because we do the show live from 1 to 2. Many of you may listen on one of our Oregon Sports Network affiliate stations later on in the evening, but, I don't have a way to do the show when we're going to be doing a women's basketball broadcast at the same time. So I hope to see everybody at Matthew Knight Arena. I will be there and just going to be enjoying some basketball. I'm looking forward to it. I always love any opportunity that I get to go and just watch a game at Matthew Knight Arena. It's actually one of the the things that I don't end up getting to do very often, because when the men are on the road, a lot of times the women are at home and vice versa, right? Like it's rare once you get through the non-conference season to have opportunities to go see them in person if you're me, traveling with the men's team and then not traveling with the women's team. So an 11 a.m. basketball game on Wednesday, yeah, I am here for that. I'm looking forward to seeing Oregon women's basketball in action. Some Oregon football news for you before we get to a little bit more basketball. CJ Verdell, congratulations on a great career, though it was hit with some injury. Number 7, CJ Verdell, announcing that he is heading to the NFL draft. Of course, went through a bad injury this year in the Ohio State game, and he posted just a great thank you to the Oregon fans, Oregon coaches, and, well, everybody that helped him get here. His mom, his dad, he even said thank you, not enough for those folks. But CJ Verdell, wishing him nothing but the best. Here's hoping that we see CJ Verdell in a long and healthy NFL career. Now, of course, what that does mean with Travis Dye electing to transfer, the running back room for the Ducks, it's going to look a little bit different. It's truly the end of an era with CJ Verdell and Travis Dye moving on in their careers. It's the end of an era in the Oregon running back room. It's going to be the first time in a long time that one of the primary or secondary ball carriers is not returning for Oregon at that position. So guys like Byron Cardwell, guys like Sean Dollars, it is their time to shine. Also, it was pretty cool to see Seven McGee posted on Twitter today that he's going to wear number 7 next year. Could you have it any other way? Now, of course, at the end of the season, we saw Seven McGee play a lot of wide receiver. Where does he fit in Coach Dillingham's offense? We're all going to find out, I think, a lot more about that come in the spring. But I feel like Seven McGee's the kind of player that you can use in different ways. Maybe he's not always in the running back room. Maybe not always in the wide receiver room. Maybe he's all over the field. I think that he's one of those kind of athletes. But your eyes are not tricking you when you see McGee and then 7 on that jersey. And that's actually then his name, like McGee, 7. Works out well. That's just kind of how it should be. So congratulations, though, to CJ Verdell, man. That guy had a tremendous career at Oregon. And you know what we should have done today? Maybe Scott's going to find it. He knows exactly what I'm thinking. Just thought of this. Maybe Scott's going to get it for us before the end of the show. How about the game-winning touchdown in overtime against Washington? That's probably the play that we're all going to remember from CJ Verdell, right? I think it's up there with his big run to start the second half at Ohio State this year. That's probably going to be one that we'll remember. But what are the other CJ Verdell memories and moments that everybody will think of? Let's spend some time talking about that on the show today. Those of you that are live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, if you want to submit a couple memories with CJ and just some of the great plays, because here's hoping that he's got a few of those in the NFL. But, yeah, God, that play was just amazing. CJ Verdell in that game against Washington was behind 2 backup offensive linemen. They ran it right at the Husky defense, won the game. And I know that overtime rules are currently the hot-button topic around football and talk radio today. Maybe we'll get to that a little bit later on, but those overtime rules sure worked out well for the Ducks and CJ Verdell that time. If Scott can find it, maybe we'll have it for you later in the show today. Meanwhile, for Oregon basketball, this coming from our buddy Matt Preem, covers the Ducks for 24/7 Sports, and I thought that it was a great exchange, and it made me laugh on Twitter today. In the last 17 meetings between Oregon football and Washington, Oregon men's basketball in Washington, and Oregon women's basketball in Washington, the Ducks are 40-11 combined. In football, they're 15-2 in the last 17. In men's basketball, they're 14-3. And in women's basketball, the Ducks are 11-6. Rob Mosley, our friend at Duck Football, so much for bowing down was his response to Matt's tweet. And Matt, appropriately, I mean, one side is bowing down to the other, just not in the way one side thought it'd play out. That made me laugh on social media today. I hope everybody gets a kick out of it. That's good research, though, from our man Matt Preem and 24/7 Sports, because, look, this is one of Oregon's biggest rivals. Some people would say the biggest rival. I think it kind of depends on the sport, and it depends on if the two teams are really good or not. If Oregon is dominating the rivalry against a team, then it ends up not really feeling much like a rivalry. But then if you're on the other side of that rivalry and you finally get that win, well, maybe then it does feel like a rivalry. I think that it depends on the sport. It depends on the season who the biggest rival is. But year in, year out, Washington is one of the biggest. And the Ducks are 15-2 against them in the last 17 meetings in football, now 14-3 in men's basketball, and 11-6 in women's basketball. Shout out to the Oregon pit crew as well, because I did see one of the signs up that says, "Is that what prowess looks like?" I mean, how can you not enjoy stuff like that in one of these rivalries? At the end of the day, if it goes too far, I'm not a fan of that. I'm the first to say that in rivalries, I don't like them to be anywhere close to violent. But can they have fun poking fun at each other? Absolutely. And that's what these rivalries are for. They should be intense. A lot of coaches have talked a lot about that. And, well, it was certainly intense for Oregon men's basketball against Washington last night. An absolutely stellar first half. Then the Ducks made some mistakes in the second half that Coach Altman was not all that thrilled with. But the Ducks overcame the previous largest margin of victory for Oregon men's basketball in the series against the Huskies. It was 25 points, by the way. Had been done a handful of times. But last night, the Ducks were up 35 at halftime, and they ended up winning the game by 28. That's a record book kind of win. And Scott Phillips was there. He documented the whole thing. And, well, I had some fun on the call as well. Ducks taking down the Dogs last night. Sunday night basketball at Matthew Knight Arena, and it's the Ducks and the Dogs. Ducks are the better team. They got to play like it. Take care of the basketball. Play harder than the Huskies. Dane Allman presented a commemorative basketball for his 700th Division I victory. Richardson, long right wing, from three. Wow. Richardson from the right wing, fires and hits the three. 6 points for Richardson, his 1,000th career point in an Oregon uniform. Into the paint, pass underneath, poster dunk, Frank Kepna. Oregon is all over the Huskies. Corner, Williams for three, yeah! Oregon is having its way with the Huskies. Williams, kick back out, Richardson, lobs it, dunks it, Dante. Wow, this is pretty remarkable what Oregon is doing. Taking it baseline from the left side. Reverse lay-in. Wow! One of the best halves of basketball the Ducks have played this year and win 84-56 for their 5th Pac-12 win of the year. Oregon improves to 12-6, a dominant performance over the Huskies. Anytime you get the opportunity to beat the Dogs, it's a good day for the Ducks, and the fact that Oregon was able to use the depth on the bench, valuable minutes, and Oregon ran away early. I said wow 3 times in that recap that Scott put together, and I probably said it a few more times than that on the broadcast because it was incredible what Oregon was doing. Defensively, they turned over a Washington team that was the best in the Power 6 conferences in turnover margin. They also have the guy with the most steals and the guy with the second most steals in the Pac-12 as individuals on their roster. Well, Oregon ended up plus 10 in turnover margin. They turned Washington over 23 times. Ducks only 13 turnovers last night. That's a 25-9 advantage in points off turnovers. That's what that translated to. It's a good day to be a Duck. We're going to hear from Dan Altman. Going to talk a little bit more about the nitty-gritty of what that win means here when we come back. It's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. More coming up from the Country Financial Studio on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Money isn't interested in the fact that you dream of going to Greece. And it doesn't pace at night wondering how you'll pay for braces 3 times. The point is, money without people is just money. Only people can use it to run the family ranch, buy their first house, or adopt a happy old dog. To us, the powerful thing about money isn't money at all. It's helping you harness the power of yours. On Point. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at takesimplesteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Okay, man, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're going to go out there and be an all-star caregiver. Cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You got to dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Show the world that you're tougher than tough. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Oh, wait. As we come back, Oregon softball just tweeted out images of their custom gloves. Scott, you got to get these so that the folks can see them. Those of you that are listening on the radio, do not pull out your phone and try to look at these. But at Oregon SB, oh, man, I'm excited. It is almost Diamond Sport season, and those gloves are great. Meanwhile, for Oregon men's basketball, we welcome you back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joy Mack in the Country Financial Studio. The Ducks have won 6 in a row against the Huskies and 12 of their last 13 against Washington. Dana Altman all-time is 18-7 against the Huskies. He's done some good things, huh? You know, there's only one team in the Pac-12 that Dana Altman does not have a winning record against. Unfortunately, it's Colorado, Oregon's next opponent. But in that series, for the most part, the Ducks have been bad on the road. They have had a hard time winning in Boulder, but they've been good at home. Let's hope that continues as Oregon faces off with Colorado tomorrow in that makeup game at 7 o'clock. The statistics in this game, though, were incredible. Only 4 field goals for Washington at the half. 4! I don't know that I've ever seen that before. The Ducks were winning 48-13 at halftime. Will Richardson picked up his 1,000th career point in the process when he hit that right wing three to get his second three-pointer. He needed 6 points, and he got 21. 8 for 11 shooting, Will Richardson. 3 rebounds, 4 assists. Not bad, huh? One of the not-so-bright spots in this game, unfortunately, came from N'Faly Dante. Dante ended up only scoring 6 points for the Ducks, but he was 3 of 4. He's still the conference leader in field goal percentage, shooting over 70% on the season. But he had 1 rebound, 2 assists. He had 3 fouls, and one of them was a technical. That went with 3 turnovers in 19 minutes. He still had the best plus-minus on the Oregon roster, though, which tells you that when he's in the game, it's a different basketball team for the Ducks. But that technical foul is one that you know he wishes that he had back. And I don't think he saw the floor after he picked up that technical foul. Probably tells you something there. But Oregon dominant in all the categories that you want to be dominant in. The Huskies actually out-rebounded Oregon 37-33, but when you take 55 shots and make 17 of them, it's a lot of missed shots for the Huskies. The offensive rebounds were really the one thing that was glaring to me. An 18-9 advantage in offensive rebounds for Washington. I don't know. It's hard to sit here and say, well, the Huskies won the second half. I mean, Oregon was leading 48-13 at halftime. Now, yeah, Washington outscored them 43-36, but you win by 84-56 after you get outscored in the second half. I think you're doing something right if you're the Ducks. It was pretty cool pregame to see Coach Altman get that commemorative basketball for his 700th Division I win. Only 24 coaches have ever done it. He's one of them, getting 700 Division I wins. And the points off turnovers at the half, this really, I think, puts in perspective just how dominant of a performance it was. Oregon had forced 14 Husky turnovers at halftime. and Washington had scored 13 points. Dominant. A dominant win. So Oregon has moved up in the polls, moved up in the net rankings. The Ducks are sitting at number 49 in the net. If you're not familiar, I know it's still new the last few years, like the RPI, it's basically a measurement based on your schedule, and if you win on the road, you win at home, you win a neutral site. It just gives you an idea, and the committee uses it to kind of stack up for seeding where you would land. Well, the Ducks are now number 49 in the latest net rankings. That's the highest that they've been so far this season. They were in the 60s heading into this weekend's one game against Washington. The Ducks also, after being a preseason top 25 team, have received 19 points in today's AP poll, which puts them at 32nd overall. You don't say they're ranked. It's always a top 25 is the cutoff, but they're essentially ranked number 32 in the nation. Not too shabby, huh? To be honest with you, I kind of hope that Oregon doesn't get back into the top 25 for at least another couple weeks. Keep that chip on Oregon's shoulder. Coming out of that COVID pause, Ducks are playing like their hair's on fire. A close win, but a win on the road against Oregon State. You go on the road, you have the historic weekend beating back-to-back top 5 teams. Then you have to deal with a little adversity because another team isn't able to play, Washington State going through COVID protocol. So you got a ton of momentum. You practice all week, and then you play the Huskies in the last game of the weekend. Ducks even had to wait an extra day compared to normal. Most of the time you're playing Saturday. Instead, the Ducks are playing Sunday at 7 o'clock. And Oregon came out and played exceptionally well. Tons of good things from the Ducks. Now they got to keep it going. After a long week of practice last week, it's a quick turnaround. Ducks will practice this afternoon and then play Colorado tomorrow at 7 o'clock, 6:30 pregame show here on the Oregon Sports Network. Dane Altman, a happy coach postgame for the most part.
Coach, the energy defensively was pretty apparent right from the start. Is that just guys kind of champing at the bit to get back at it after missing a game the other day?
Yeah, it was a long week. They didn't enjoy the practice, I don't think, all that much. So, they were ready to play a game, and I thought the first half our defensive activity was really good. Second half, it wasn't nearly as good, but the guys had a big lead and kind of exchanged baskets there. But the first half, we forced a lot of turnovers. Our activity was really good. Thought we did a lot of really good things.
Dan, as much as you guys have dominated this series over the last 7-8 years, this is the most lopsided win you guys have ever had, ever, against Washington. What does that feel like to win a game in a rivalry series by 28 points?
Well, I didn't know that. It's really good, that we played so well the first half. I think we're up 30-some at half. And and they had played really well. They'd won 3 and 4 of their last 5. We were, obviously concerned about the game. They had a big 10-point win against Oregon State the other night, beat Stanford and Cal at home, beat Utah on the road. So, we were really expecting, a tight ball game. And we know offensively, you saw in the second half offensively, when they get it going a little bit, they can be hard to handle. So, just one of those nights. We had a good first half. We went 8 for 12 from 3. So just one of those nights where things were clicking offensively for us, especially in that first half. We shot 65% and 65 from 3 or 66 from 3. So, things were just clicking. We even made some free throws tonight. So that was a good night.
Dan, Ribaldo Soros saw as many minutes tonight as he has in quite some time. I know that can partially be skewed because of the margin of victory, but is there something you've seen from him in practice recently that kind of led you to getting him out on the floor a little bit more?
Well, we're kind of working an 8-man rotation right now. We're looking at Nate as our 9th guy, and those 8 guys, are kind of going to be moving in and out right now. Those things can change with play and practice, with an injury, a lot of different variables there. But Ribaldo did play better tonight. He made some good plays. He had 2 assists. He had 1 turnover in the first half. I remember he left his feet, but I thought he made some plays for his teammates. I thought defensively he was a little bit more active. So I thought he did some good things.
Yeah, Dana, just your thoughts on 16 assists to 32 field goals made and just the shot selection you guys are getting right now.
Well, I thought our ball movement, we had 12 assists at half, so our ball movement wasn't quite as good the second half. And the big fella blocked some shots at the rim, which, I thought we could have got. But, it wasn't quite as sharp the second half. And because of that, our shooting percentage wasn't quite as good. But no, I thought our ball movement was good. I thought we were looking to make shots for each other. And, that's going to be so important for us to be connected like that and making plays for each other.
Dan, after I think it was the Pepperdine game, you said that this was a team that just wasn't really interested or was disinterested in playing defense at that time. And you compare that with what they did on that end of the floor tonight. I mean, it was just over a month ago. How do you think they've made sort of the leap that they have so quickly?
Well, I don't remember exactly what my quote was, but we weren't playing very well defensively. But the guys are more connected. We're making a lot fewer mistakes. Second half in transition, however, we made a bunch of matchup mistakes that cost us, three threes and a Frank fouling in the corner there. Our defensive transition there was not very good. In the second half, gave up 10 points in transition on threes. So it's being connected. It's talking. We're not messing up as many switches as we did earlier in the year. Our rim protection wasn't quite as good as I wanted it to be tonight, but we did have a couple blocks and we had some guys, contesting some shots. So, the defense has just got to continue to improve. But we have made a tremendous jump, and it's mostly just the connection the guys have with each other, and we're just making fewer mistakes. And that's, something that can continue to get better, and it's going to have to. With some of the teams in the league, we're going to have to get a lot better defensively.
Dana, you guys pick up 2 big wins over the Los Angeles schools. People like to talk about momentum. You get hit with the postponement and don't play for a while. What went into having this team ready to ultimately pick up where you guys left off?
Well, the guys were, like I said, disappointed we didn't play Thursday because, we had a long week of practice. But, I thought the guys handled it well. We're kind of more used to, different things happening with our schedule because of the last couple of years. So the guys, I thought, handled it pretty well. And now we got quick turnaround for Colorado and then Oregon State. So we got 3 games this week. We didn't have any last week, and now we got 3 this week. So it'll be quick turnaround for Colorado, and guys are going to have to take care of themselves and get ready to go.
Dana, what did you feel like was effective against Brown? I know he gets up to 14 points, but 3 of 14 from the field. He basically did all his damage at the foul line. What was it that you guys were able to really kind of knock him off his game?
I thought our awareness, James, was really good on him. I didn't think we gave him a lot of easy looks. My stats got 3 for 16, whatever, 3 for 14, 3 for 16. But, we made him take a lot of contested shots. We did foul him a few times, like you said, and got 8 points at the line. But, I just thought our activity, our awareness on him was pretty good. He does lead the league in scoring, and so our guys were aware of that and wanted to try to make it tough for him. And I thought the guys did a pretty good job.
That's Terrell Brown he's talking about, who leads the league in scoring and in steals. He's trying to become the first guy since James Harden did it at Arizona State, leading the league in points and steals per game in the same season. We'll see if he's able to do it. Certainly those numbers going down after Oregon did a nice job to bottle him up. But that was a team that is one of the worst at moving the basketball in the conference. They're an odd group, right? They force more turnovers than anybody else in the league, but they also move the ball at about 10 assists per game, which is one of the worst in the country. Well, Oregon, I thought, really took advantage of that. They did not let Washington have any individual beat them, and they never really got them into team sets. Oregon with just an impressive defensive performance. Dana Altman talking postgame. It's brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with cancer care you can count on. And when we come back, let's hear from Quincy Guerrier. You know he speaks fluent French? Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you in the Country Financial Studio. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at Hoodoo. Dig into deep savings. Get your season pass now at hoodoo.com. Has anybody else? I haven't gotten a chance to go to the snow yet this year. Has anybody? Scott's shaking his head. You know, we used to do a show at Hoodoo once a year. Trying to think. What would it take to move all of this studio equipment up the mountain? I just have this vision of Scott and I on snowmobiles, like towing a trailer. God, it would be great. God, it'd be great. But you can't. We're beyond the webcam era. I mean, we've got 2, 3, 4 cameras in here. Anyway, Oregon men's basketball, big win over the Huskies. Let's hear a little bit from Quincy Guerrier. You know, I think that down the stretch, Quincy Guerrier could be a real X factor for Oregon. When Jacob Young kind of turned the corner, I thought, you know, Oregon's only lost one game when he scores 10 or more points. Ducks are now 7-1 when he scores 10 or more. 6-1, 7-1. Did he score 10 last night? He did. Ducks are 7-1 when Jacob Young scores 10 or more points. Quincy Guerrier was a third-team All-ACC guy last year, and I think getting more and more comfortable with what the Ducks are doing, I think he's a real X factor for the Ducks down the stretch. That could be a difference maker for Oregon in some games. Quincy Guerrier talked to the media post-game.
Quincy, your guys' activity on defense was apparent right from the start, even despite the layoff that you guys had because of missing the game the other day. Why were you guys so ready to go right from the jump, particularly on that end of the floor?
We knew that Washington was a good team. They won their 4 of their last 5 games, so we kind of had like a sense of urgency. And coach put a lot of emphasis on defense before the game. So, I mean, that's why first half we played really well on defense.
Quincy, I know this is your first time in the rivalry, but you obviously know that zone as well as anyone in the locker room, as well as anyone on that sideline. So, when you know the zone and you know the way to beat a zone is to shoot the lights out, what's it like when you guys are shooting the lights out in the first half?
I mean, we were sharing the ball. I think that was the major key for us to be successful on the zone. You know, some guys was cutting on the high post and just sharing the ball, and we were all ready to shoot it. So I think that's why we were successful tonight.
Quincy, just from your perspective, just what has led to this team's 5-game or 6-game win streak and just better offensive movement, better connectivity? What's clicked for you guys from your perspective?
We're just communicating. Communicating is the key, and we're active on defense. I think our defense got much better since the beginning of the year, but we still has a lot to improve on our defense, but we're getting there. The goal is to be ready by March, and I think we're getting better every game. So I think every game we're making a step, and that's the most important thing.
Quincy, going back to defense, and I mean, you said yourself, you guys have gotten so much better on that end of the floor. Is it as simple as just communicating, or is there anything else that you think is really
it's really communicating, and just, we just got to be active. That's the main thing. But yeah, communicating is really helping us. But like I said, it's if everyone wants to play defense, I think we're going to be on a good shape. And when everyone is locked in, connected, y'all see the result.
See, rivalries mean so much in college sports, but in college basketball, it seems just different in that this team is no different than any, in that you guys have as many players who've played in this series before as guys like you who've never played in it. So what does it mean to you in a rivalry where you win in the largest margin of victory the rivalry's ever had? I know it's your first meeting, but does that mean something in the locker room when you beat a rival by nearly 30 points?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing because I know we playing them again, and I think we send a message, we gotta go play out there in Washington. So, we let them know that, we're gonna play hard all the time, and when we gotta be ready for the next game. But like I said, the game is over now, and we gotta be ready for on Tuesday against Colorado.
Quincy, it feels like every game or so, Frank's getting a big block. How do you guys feel like your interior presence is kind of developed as the season's come along?
Yeah, that's a big part of our defense, especially against USC. When Dante and Frank blocking shots, that just gave us energy, and it's turning around the whole game. So with them playing like that, we need them to have a presence inside, and they're doing a good job.
That's been a game changer. The presence around the rim, because Oregon would have multiple occasions in games early in the season where there'd be a mistake on a switch, particularly around the perimeter, and then the big men weren't defending the rim without fouling. Ducks were getting in foul trouble, probably, I think, still more often than they would like. But switching and fighting the dribble has improved considerably. The Ducks are generating more turnovers around the perimeter, and the presence inside has gotten a lot better. Now, certainly that's a symbiotic relationship, right? When you're playing a matchup zone defense, you have to communicate. You have to switch well. That's what I think a lot of the time. I think that's part of why, at least, the Ducks get better as the season goes on. Chemistry starts to gel a little more. The defense improves, and that's why Coach Altman tends to always line up that Rubik's Cube. Shout out to John Rothstein. He tweeted it at halftime that Dana Altman aligns Rubik's Cubes. I think that might have been a record for the earliest that we've gotten a Rothsteinism there. Thanks, John. Appreciate you. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit of women's basketball. And then Tobias says you can't go to the snow. That would be Duck Outsider. Tobias, it's actually been a running joke that Duck Outsider is a show that we only do off the air. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, you can't stop a new 2022 Toyota. No matter the weather, the Camry all-wheel drive comes out to play. Snowy hills don't stand a chance against the RAV4, and everyone's comfy in the Highlander. See you in the snow. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Dear winter, you can't stop a new 2022 Toyota. No matter the weather, the Camry all-wheel drive comes out to play. Snowy hills don't stand a chance against the RAV4, and everyone's comfy in the Highlander. See you in the snow. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, son, how are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wander. Metamorphed lyricist, the loss of who you thought you is.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Oregon women's basketball, they were the first to knock off the Huskies this weekend. Kelly Graves' squad, though, it was a tight game, wasn't it? Oregon finished making their final 4 field goals from the floor, and they won 68-61. And I'll tell you what, I know that India Rogers scored 23 points on 8 of 16 shooting. She was 3 of 9 from 3, also had 3 rebounds. I know that. I also know that Niara Sabali scored 20 points, 8 of 13 from the floor, 4 of 5 at the line, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, tied for the team lead in assists, and you're playing in the post. I know all that. You know who my player of the game is? Shania Pinto. She had 4 points, 2 of 2. She had 2 rebounds and an assist. But in the last few minutes, I thought Pinto was stellar defensively. 4 steals total in the game. Her and Sabali combined for what? 4 steals in the last 2 minutes? I thought that she was the difference. And I think that as the season's gone on, now that Oregon's stars of Rogers are back, and then Sedona Prince missed some time, but Sabali's back as well, and Pow Pow is back. I feel like those minutes that somebody like Pinto played are going to show to be very, very valuable here down the stretch. And I thought we saw that against Washington. The Ducks were up by 4 after the first quarter, led by 4 at halftime. It was 17-17. It was still tied in the third quarter. I thought this was amazing. So Oregon won the first quarter, dead tie in the second quarter, dead tie in the third quarter. And frankly, if it wasn't for the way Oregon played defensively, forced a few turnovers, Huskies made some mistakes there in the last couple minutes, I don't know that Oregon wins the fourth quarter. They ended up winning the fourth quarter 17-14 to win it 68-61. A very back-and-forth game, and I think it's safe to say I didn't think that Oregon really played its best basketball on Friday night against Washington. But you know what good teams do when maybe they don't play their best? They win. They did that shooting 41% despite only 27% from 3, and they dominated in turnovers. This was really a banner weekend for Oregon defenses on the hardwood because a 17-8 turnover advantage for the Ducks. 17 turnovers for Washington, just 8 for the Ducks, and Oregon ended up winning the points off turnover battle 16-4. But then another parallel to the Oregon men's team, Ducks actually got out-rebounded by Washington 34-32. Now, Oregon led for almost 32 minutes in the game. Washington led for only about 5 minutes in the game. So I'm sitting here nitpicking. You get a win on the road in the Pac-12 Conference. It's a good thing. But I think it is really in large part due to some of the reserves for the Ducks playing great late in the game. Kelly Graves, some of his thoughts post-game after the Ducks took down the Dogs, and Oregon now sitting at number 19 in the latest AP poll. Here's Coach Graves.
Well, I'm happy we won the game. I loved how we finished the game. I thought we defensively did a great job down the stretch, made some plays, turned them over a little bit, got some easy runouts in transition, and I wish we would have gotten them earlier, but you'll take them anytime. And in the end, it was a good win. It was a good road win against a really good Washington team. They came ready to play and gave us everything that we could handle. But in the end, we made the plays down the stretch and won the game. So we'll take it.
Kelly, what Shania has brought in the fourth quarter all week has been pretty remarkable. Have you ever had a player you can turn to in the fourth quarter after not playing for nearly 30 minutes and just say, yeah, go steal the ball relentlessly and don't allow them to shoot?
Yeah, and make 2 great cuts to the basket, and that offensive rebound. Yeah, she just she got hit early in the game. I didn't know what her status was. She got hit kind of in the head a little bit, but yeah, she was huge for us, you guys. That was was so great. I thought her and Niara just down the stretch just really controlled that finish. But good on her. It's nice to know you can turn to her in those situations.
Kelly, on a night where two of your best players in Tahina and Sedona are having kind of an off night offensively, how encouraging is it that you have these two other players in India and Niara that you can turn to and get you combined 40-plus points?
Well, that's big. That's what all teams, great teams are like that. We're not a great team yet, but I mean, that's what you have to have. There are going to be certain nights when your best players are maybe off a little bit, and and then somebody else has got to pick it up. Tonight it was India, and then Niara in the second half was really, really big. So, actually, I think India passed up some shots. I think she could have even done more damage, but Sedona especially is not going to have that kind of a shooting night again, and neither will Tahina. So it's good that somebody else picked it up.
This last week or so, Coach, it seems like you guys have learned to win games in tough spots and had to fight back a couple times today. Took all 40 minutes. Just what are you seeing in terms of learning this team to kind of close out games, finish games, and how encouraging has it been to see them do that this week?
Yeah, really encouraging, because we're going to be in a lot of close games from here to the end of the season. Welcome to the Pac-12, These guys, like I said, gave us everything, and down the stretch, it was just, I think that composure we had, some timely defensive stops, and a couple of really good plays offensively, and that's what's going to take. It was almost like an NBA game, back and forth, and then the better team just kind of flexed its muscles late. We don't want to get in that habit, but it was great to see.
Kelly, I don't think you guys have really had a player like Shania in terms of I realize you're playing 10 players at the moment, but I mean, you tell me. I know it's the easy comparison because she's on the staff, but does she have a little bit of Adi in her?
Yeah, a little bit. Adi was more of a power player. Shania's, just kind of makes things happen. She's long, she's aggressive, and she's got a real nose for the ball, doesn't she? I mean, on the rebounds, those cuts that she made late, Niara found her for layups. The big offensive rebound, those are things you just can't teach. Those are, just qualities that she has in her. I think Adi could be a good comparison. I don't know if even I'd put Adi in that category necessarily, but as a valuable seventh player, yeah, in that regard, she's similar to Adi.
Kind of an unusual matchup facing someone 6'9", so you have players looking up. You rotated through several of your bigs. Just seemed like Philly. I know we talked about Shania's a minute, but Philly had some really nice moments out there too. Just the rotation up front and kind of how you picked and chose spots there with those guys.
Well, I thought Philly was big. I thought she played well. That's why I went early to her in the second half. I think she was a little surprised when I called her name really early into that third quarter, but I thought she did a great job. Got some timely, good rebounds, finished well at the hoop. I'm not sold on the charging call on her, but I think it was on her. She did a good job and could match up with their center pretty well. Philly's coming, man. I'm telling you, she's coming.
Kind of on that, Kelly, we talked about going into the game that matching up with Van Dyke would be a big part of it. How do you feel like you guys were able to be so successful at impacting her? I mean, 2 of 13 on the night, 0 of 4 from 3.
Yeah, I thought we did a pretty good job on her. Schwartz was a little better than I anticipated. She had a heck of a game. She's a good player. She was motivated. It's not often that you have from a school in Kentucky, Northern Kentucky, playing against each other in the Pac-12, and I thought her and Maddie both competed really well, but Schwartz played a great game. I thought we did a much better job on Missy Peterson in the second half as well. I don't know what she ended up with, but I don't know if she even scored in the second half, but anyway, yeah, we were better definitely in the fourth quarter.
Missy Peterson actually ended up scoring, not much in the second half. She had 15 points in the, let's see. Well, now the stats have loaded incorrectly. Anyway, yeah, the Ducks did a really great job against Missy Peterson. I was going to follow up with what Coach Graves was saying, and then now it says that, here, you guys all get a kick out of this as I'm looking at the stats. So you're supposed to be able to click and see, what the distribution was. Well, according to this, Missy Peterson scored 15 points on 4 of 10 from the floor, and then scored 7 points in the first quarter, was 2 of 5 shooting, scored 7 points in the second quarter, 2 of 5 shooting, scored 7 points in the third quarter, 2 of 5 shooting, and scored 7 points in the fourth quarter, 2 of 5 shooting. Something didn't add up there. But they did a great job, I thought, against Missy Peterson. Coach Graves, great stuff from him. Brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with cancer care you can count on whenever we hear from the coaches post-game. When we come back, let's hear from Niara Sabali a little bit, and then got a little bit of fun. We're going to show you those gloves from Oregon softball that they just tweeted out that are awesome, and then how about reliving the best memory that I have of C.J. Verdell? Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Money isn't interested in the fact that you dream of going to Greece, and it doesn't pace at night wondering how you'll pay for braces 3 times. The point is, money without people is just money. Only people can use it to run the family ranch, buy their first house, or adopt a happy old dog. To us, the powerful thing about money isn't money at all. It's helping you harness the power of yours. On Point. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
What is dedication?
My daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack at the Country Financial Studio. Continuing to talk a little Oregon women's basketball, as the Ducks are sitting at number 19 in the latest AP poll, and they're sitting at number 11 in the latest net rankings. Oregon will be in action on the floor at Matthew Knight Arena coming up on Wednesday at 11 a.m. No Duck Insider on Wednesday because we got basketball going on when the Ducks face Utah. Let's hear a lit'll bit from Niara Sabali. What'd she think post-game after the Ducks got it done in Seattle?
You had 14 of your 20 there in the second half. Just talk about the end of the game, 1-point possession, you and Shania there kind of defensively with the steals, and then we'll take some questions after that.
Yeah, I think it's just like a sense of urgency. I mean, we should have played like that the whole game, but it is what it is. But just in the end, to like the fact that we need to get stops now, it's all in the defensive end. All of our games that we've won, it's the defense. So just the fact that I know I could get that steal or that stop and just going out and doing it.
Niara, what has Shania meant this whole week, really, but especially tonight? She's come up huge on the defensive side and provided something different for you guys in the fourth quarter in all 3 of these games this past week.
Oh, man, yeah, I love Shania. Her energy is, like, contagious. She gives us exactly what we need. We needed that for a while now, that little spark on the defensive end. Her energy on the court, off the court too. She's always the one that's talking in practice, always being extra loud, which we really appreciate because sometimes we lack that. So having somebody that, that can get on the court and get those steals when the time we need them is amazing. And we really rely on her for that. And I think she doesn't get appreciated enough for that. So it's just because that doesn't really show up. But just, I'm glad that she finally gets a recognition for that, because she's been saving us in the last couple games with her energy. So I'm really, really glad we have her.
Niora, I hate to do it, but to take us back a couple of days to the game on Monday and your knee, I'm just curious on kind of what you thought took place and kind of the relief, obviously, to be able to keep playing in this game. And then how do you feel physically after a really competitive game that required you giving a lot of effort late to ensure you won?
Yeah, every time I go down with my knee, it's always a shock. And I tend to go to the worst place possible. But I'm just glad at this point. I'm just super happy that I can be on the court and be playing, because that's something I used to take for granted, but I don't do anymore, because every game counts. Every game I get to play is a blessing for me. So just being on the court with my teammates means everything to me. So it really means a lot that my knee held up. And just physically, I feel fine physically. It's always kind of harder to get back in when sitting out a few practices. But I have my teammates to back me up, and that really helps too.
It seemed like it took you guys a long time to create any separation, kind of the last minute there, until you could kind of maybe exhale. What was it maybe that Washington was doing that made it difficult? And maybe what are some things that maybe you guys weren't maybe doing up to par that kind of kept it close?
Washington did a great job. They're a really good team. They play really hard. They have really good players. So we kind of struggled a little with that. It was kind of weird today. Every time we seemed to get a little going, we would just kind of fall out of it again. And you just have days like that, but we talked about it in the locker room. We can't kind of come out like that again. We need to be more aggressive. I think it was our aggressiveness that was lacking today. And then just coming out and being ready to play and kind of forgetting about last weekend, because now it's just, we got to move forward. And
good to learn these sorts of things in a win, right? That's what Niora Sabally is talking about. All right, CJ Verdell, best of luck in the NFL. Here's my favorite memory.
Snap, give it to Verdell, up the middle, touchdown! Verdell right up the middle, untouched. Oregon has beaten Washington. The Ducks have beaten the Huskies. And there's a huge pile down in the end zone on the right side. Oh my God, in overtime.
Don't you love that? Great way to finish up the show today. CJ Verdell, best of luck in the NFL. We'll talk about softball a little more tomorrow. Those gloves, we're going to show them to Missy Lombardi. See you then.
These are the sounds of a dinner. A dinner that almost didn't happen. A dinner now served, thanks to people like you. Due to COVID-19, 17 million more Americans may face hunger. Feeding America is helping our neighbors in need. And if you're able, you can too. Donations are being accepted at feedingamerica.org/coronavirus. Brought to you by the Ad Council.